Longfellow said that the stars are the forget-me-nots of the angels. Back in the 19th century when he lived, most people wouldn't know much more than that about the magnificent objects twinkling in the heavens. Today, though, we know quite a bit about the stars, as well as the moon, the planets in our solar system, comets, and asteroids. Yet there is still something mysterious and poetic about gazing at the night sky and seeing a shooting star or the planet Venus. Why do we still wax romantic about the heavens?
What still draws us to these beautiful celestial phenomena is just how astonishing they are and how absolutely beautiful they are for all of us. I mean, just to watch a comet with your naked eye, or to see a shooting star in the night sky, or to be able to see these fantastic phenomena that happen just because everything is perfectly aligned, such as lunar and solar eclipses, just makes us feel how tiny we are compared to the universe and how much humankind has evolved to perfectly understand what is going on.
That's Mario de Leo-Winkler, a postdoctoral researcher for NASA-JPL and the University of California, Riverside, where he specializes in public outreach and education. Alan McRobert agrees and says there is nothing like being able to watch and learn about extraterrestrial objects firsthand. McRobert is the senior editor at Sky and Telescope magazine.
This is an outdoor nature hobby. It's one thing to learn about these things out of books, magazines, websites. It's another thing to go out and participate in the universe, observing it yourself with your own eye. There is no privilege like being able to stand with and commune with the original, unmediated, as opposed to reading about it in books.
We asked both guests to let us in on what's going to be going on in the sky over North America for the remainder of the year and the best way to view these events. There were already 2 eclipses, a total eclipse of the sun visible in Alaska and Hawaii on March 8th and 9th, and a penumbral lunar eclipse on March 23rd. That's all of the eclipses for 2016, though next year there will be a lunar eclipse in February and a magnificent solar eclipse in August. That doesn't mean there's nothing left to see this year, though. De Leo-Winkler says there are several meteor showers on tap for sky gazers.
So there are 3 major showers that we will be able to see in the United States this year. The Eta Aquarids will happen before dawn on May the 5th, and the predicted number of shooting stars is 40 per hour. And this one in particular happens during a moonless night. So this is absolutely fabulous to be able to see in the United States this year.
The next 2 meteor showers are huge, the Perseids and the Geminids.
The Perseids will happen before dawn on August the 12th. And that one is the greatest meteor shower of the year, with a prediction of 150 shooting stars per hour. That's 3 shooting stars more or less every minute. Unfortunately, this year, it's paired with a full moon. So what you will see is the brightest of those meteor showers, and possibly not the 150 shooting stars that are predicted per hour. But it's still worth to go out and see Perseid, which is going to be on the eastern horizon on August the 12th. The Geminids, which you should be able to see before dawn on the eastern horizon on December 14th, is the second biggest meteor shower of the year, with 120 shooting stars per hour. That's 2 per minute, predicted during the maximum. Unfortunately, too, this meteor shower will happen also during a full moon, so you will only be able to see the brightest shooting stars out of those 120 that are predicted during the maximum.
De Leo-Winkler says that you don't need any equipment to watch a meteor shower except a comfy lawn chair and maybe a thermos of coffee. No telescopes or binoculars required. And try to get away from light pollution if you're in a larger urban area. The countryside is nice for the best viewing, but you can see those shooting stars even in the largest cities if you're patient. But what are those meteors showering down onto the Earth anyway? And where do they come from?
It's just debris that is left over from a comet that came by either some years ago or centuries ago that enters Earth's atmosphere at thousands of miles per hour and just burns up. And it emits light as it's burning out.
There are some very interesting alignments of the planets this year, and we'll get to that in a moment. First, though, if you want to look at planets in the sky, what kinds of equipment do you need? McRobert says you can see many planets with the naked eye, but if you want a better look, an inexpensive telescope will work.
At the low price end, be very careful of what you get. Look for something on a Dobsonian-style mounting. That means rather than a tall, flimsy tripod, a low, boxy sort of mounting that swings up and down and side to side and maybe goes on a firm table. And that doesn't advertise that it goes to very high power, because you're probably not going to be able to use very high power until you get skilled at finding things in the sky. The lower the power, the wider the field of view, and the easier it is to point at something. And a small, portable, low-power, wide-field scope like this, if it's high quality, is something that you'll keep and use all your life, even if you go further in the hobby and get something really big and fancy and expensive later on.
Mick Roberts says that you should avoid the trap of someone trying to sell you a high-powered telescope, too.
Scopes that are sold by high power, if it says 350 power on the box, you know right away it's being sold to ignorant people who don't know what they're getting. So you want to avoid it. If that's what they think of you, you don't want their product. Instead, be thinking of the aperture, that is, how big the front lens or mirror is, and the general quality of construction and stability.
You can also just use binoculars for a good look at the heavens.
Any binoculars that you happen to have already will be good, will be better than the naked eye. But if you're getting binoculars specifically for astronomy, the bigger the front lenses, the better. Up to about 10 power is about as high as magnification as you want to get if the binoculars are handheld. Above that, they really need a tripod because they jiggle too much. So probably the favorite for amateur astronomy are the 10 by 50s or 8 by 50 size. But again, anything that you happen to have, make the most of it.
So what about those alignments of the planets this year? Leo-Winkler says there's going to be a spectacular one coming up this summer.
What we will be able to see in the night sky from August 13th to August 19th, 2016, is the 5 major planets. So we'll be able to see Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter at the same time. They're easy to see. You don't need a telescope. You just need to know which part of the sky you're looking at and which ones are the planets. So Mercury is always the closest one to the sun, so it's usually the one that's closer to the horizon. Then Venus looks like a very bright star. Saturn is yellowish in color. You can detect it with the naked eye. Mars looks like a red star, although it's a planet, so you can detect its reddish hue. And Jupiter looks like a very bright star.
Leo-Winkler says that if you have a small telescope, you can see the rings of Saturn and the 4 major moons of Jupiter. Speaking of moons, there are several supermoons scheduled for this year, and according to earthsky.org, the biggest one will appear this fall on November 14th. Leo-Winkler says that they're super because of the distance between the Earth and the Moon.
That's the biggest full moon in the year. So our moon has an elliptical orbit around the Earth. That means that it's going to be sometimes farther or closer away from the Earth. And when one of those times when it's closer to Earth matches the full moon, then it's called a supermoon, and it's very beautiful to see. It's usually around 13% brighter and 33% larger, so it's very nice to see.
Light pollution in cities doesn't affect how we see the moon and planets, since they're so bright, but it can hurt viewing of the constellations and other astronomical phenomena. Mick Roberts says that cities need to rethink their lighting needs to let everyone enjoy the night sky.
A lot of people are agitating basically for lighting, artificial outdoor lighting that is not stupid. That means fixtures that don't waste light by sending light needlessly up in the sky, wasting light and energy and electricity, but send all of their light down to the ground where it's supposed to be. I mean, there is no point in overlighting. That is more light than is needed for the job at hand. And also, the best light for visibility at night, it turns out, is warm white, amber-colored white light, not the dazzling blue-white light that too many municipalities are installing right now because that's the cheapest LED lights that they can get. And they think, oh, that LEDs save money. We can make them brighter. And, yeah, if they're blue, blue looks cool. No, it doesn't. It actually interferes with visibility at night, and there's no reason to have more light than is necessary. Anyway, end of rant.
Despite knowing so much about the planets, asteroids, comets, and stars, Leo-Winkler says that we're still learning about how these heavenly bodies came to be, what they're made of, and how they might impact our little blue planet and our lives in the future. You can find out more about astronomy and see pictures and videos of space exploration and the night sky on the NASA website at nasa.gov. You can also learn more about UC Riverside's Astronomy Department and Mario de Leo-Winkler at physics.ucr.edu. Alan McRobert invites listeners to visit his magazine's website at telescope.com. There you can find sky charts, podcasts, and information about everything astronomical. To learn more about all of our guests, log on to our site at viewpointsonline.net. You can find archives of past programs there and on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm Gary Price.
If you're one of the nearly 30 million Americans with diabetes that regularly test their blood sugar, you rely on your meter to help you and your healthcare professional detect high and low blood sugar and make therapy and lifestyle adjustments. Now the new One-Touch Vario Flex meter with ColorSure technology takes the guesswork out of interpreting results. Endocrinologist Dr. Jeremy Pettis explains.
Many people with diabetes have difficulty making sense of their blood sugar results. The One-Touch Vario Flex meter has a simple color range indicator that uses blue, green, and red to instantly tell you when your readings are low, in range, or high. And for patients who want additional insights and information, the meter connects wirelessly with the One-Touch Reveal mobile app on iOS and Android devices.
Simple, accurate, and easy to use, the One-Touch Vario Flex meter is available now with an estimated price of under $20. One-Touch is the brand most recommended by endocrinologists and primary care physicians. To learn more, visit onetouch.com.
A new survey shows a staggering number of family and friends of people with Alzheimer's disease are jeopardizing their own family's health and financial stability. According to the Alzheimer's Association 2016 Alzheimer's Disease Facts and Figures report, nearly half of care contributors have to cut back on their own expenses and basic needs, such as food and medical care. Beth Kallmeyer is Vice President of Constituent Services for the Alzheimer's Association.
Very few people are prepared for the high cost of dementia-related care. More than one-third of care contributors experience significant lost income due to caregiving demands. For example, they must cut back on their own expenses, including basic necessities like food, transportation, and medical care.
Kallmeyer says families need to proactively plan for the financial impact of Alzheimer's and dementia. Planning tips and more about the 2016 Facts and Figures report are available at alz.org.
This summer, distinctive island adventures, Caribbean vibes, and unrivaled natural beauty await you on the island of St. Lucia. This summer, St. Lucia rocks with sizzling deals for travelers, including free hotel nights and savings of up to 50% off room rates. Summer values also include a range of unique island experiences for families and couples alike. And in August, St. Lucia celebrates its rich centuries-long history of cocoa production with decadent deals during Chocolate Heritage Month. Visitors can toast the cocoa bean with inventive cocktails, chocolate-infused spa treatments, cocoa plantation tours, and island-wide hotel and resort savings up to 50% off. Chef Nina Compton, St. Lucia's culinary ambassador, former Top Chef finalist, and owner of New Orleans' hottest new restaurant, Compère Le Pain, suggests
summer's a great time to try my favorite dish, cocoa braised short ribs, and some island-grown chocolate to celebrate St. Lucia's heritage and Creole culture.
So find out why St. Lucia rocks this summer at stlucia.org/summerrocks. That's stlucia.org/summerrocks.